The last presentation is by myself. I'm going to take this topic. The title, Multilateralism in Crisis. I put this title, Multilateralism Crisis. I wanted to project the current agenda and current issues of COVID-19 crisis in the context of multilateral crisis. Quite interestingly, I made a similar presentation back in 2012 in the context of post-global financial crisis. At that time, we also discussed a lot problems of multilateralism and the agenda for FEALAC. But today, we have a new environment. First of all, let me briefly review where we are. Even before COVID-19 crisis, we had some problems coming from the existing paradigm, inequality and polarization problems, coming from half-century-old neoliberalism and globalization. And there was a movement toward disintegration of European Union, such as Brexit. And we had a global financial crisis, and as you know very well, America First Trumpism and trade protectionism. And as in Europe, we had refugees and immigration restriction problems. So in this context, COVID-19 actually exacerbates the pre-existing problems by, for example, by border closure against human movements and deglobalizing international investments through reshoring or nearshoring, and countries' decisions to localize and keep internally key public goods sectors. And we are witnessing fragmentation of the global economy. And as you know, G2 conflicts over trade, technology, etc., and geographically in East Asia and Latin America and other parts of the world. So, we can say that we are in transition period. You know, after the end of Cold War, the world moved from bipolar phase to unipolar by the leadership of US. And then we witnessed tripartite divisions of the world, particularly in trade sector in Europe, Americas, and Asia. And then in the first part of 21st century, we witnessed a multipolar phase, including BRICS emergence. And finally, we witnessed a global financial crisis and came up G20 and now G2, but you know, no leadership today. We can say that there is no pole system. In other words, G0. So we are going through particularly unique transition away from cosmopolitan values, pluralism, generosity, traditionally in the Western world. And we are witnessing movement from open door internationalist globalization to what they call world city, protectionist, isolationist, nationalist, and post-capitalism paradigm, while the state is backing away from the market. And the civilization is moving from the third industrial revolution, such as digital economy, to fourth industrial revolution with connectivity. And on the other hand, COVID-19, new human security crisis in health issue. At this moment, I would like to discuss the meaning of multilateralism Okay, what's the definition and what is the meaning of the, multilateralism? Actually, multilateralism was based on common action among states and sustainable consensus amongst the states. It was contrasted to strictly unilateral or bilateral initiatives. Particularly, multilateralism was strengthened in post-World War period, such as Bretton Woods system, GATT, and today WTO, United Nations. All those multilateral agreements were often underpinned by superpower understandings and agreements. Now, we need new multilateralism. Actually, the problem of multilateralism was emerging even before COVID-19. There were several components of emergence of new multilateralism with interdependence, new interdependence, and new transnational challenges, and global distribution of power, and widespread democratization at almost all parts of the world, and the expansion of global civil society, new actors coming in the sector of policy making and decision making. And we have complex challenges facing the world. At this moment, we are facing health issue, but other issues can include hunger, education, terrorism, environments, economic justice, and human rights, etc., etc. Last year, for example, there were initiatives by Germany and France in the name of alliances for multilateralism, but by now, no actual achievements, even in Europe, for new multilateralism. So let us think about the role of FEALAC under today's crisis, COVID-19 crisis, and also multilateralism in crisis. As the other panelists has already made emphasis, FEALAC consists of developing countries, and they are most affected by COVID-19 crisis or are to be affected. And on the other hand, the crisis of multilateralism is the crisis of the developing world. FEALAC fundamentally promotes interconnected world for greater stability and prosperity for the people in an increasingly interdependent world. So, I would like to emphasize that FEALAC cooperation now is given a litmus test. How much the pragmatic principle of multilateralism can be sustained? This kind of a principle should be the well-being of any one nation depends upon the well-being of others. So in other words, all of us are on the same boat. This kind of a spirit is being tested. And also FEALAC is being tested with this litmus. But there is no one-time panacea. We lack today of global agreement. We lack of international capacity building. We lack of leadership. So FEALAC cannot solve all these problems at one time. But there should be, at least, there should be some space. I would like to share with you this kind of agenda for FEALAC. What is the setting of today? First of all, weak multilateralism, weak global governance, weak global leadership. But interregionalism, okay, FEALAC is interregionalism between East Asia and Latin America. This interregionalism should contribute by opening dialogue on not only political but also social and economic dimension, with the conviction that multilateralism can be fed by also middle powers, regional processes, interregional processes, and global private actors. They can facilitate recovering international relations now in decay. So FEALAC can contribute, I believe, to multi-level governance through encouraging interregional and intra-regional cooperation. We should be pragmatic with the goals of development, technology, and social integration. What will be pragmatic methodology? At this point, I would like to pick up the concept of platform. Today we are living with the platform economy. Platform basically to link traditional industries with new technology. And we have to reserve and we have to take into account the existing concerns, such as today more concern is with stable supply rather than cheaper supply in global value chain. And a lot of concern is with sovereignty and national reserve against sharing, for example, food and resources. So we should be open-minded on these sectors. In the name of FEALAC, we have to assert important role of business and economic sectors, while trade and investments should play in promoting the prosperity of the two regions. On this point, again, the actors should include not only states, but also multilateral corporations and global civil society. We can promote networking and clustering with the concept of platform to enhance policy needs and to upgrade indigenous technology base, stimulate growth of localized innovative capacity, and enhance international cooperation in R&D in both regions. Thank you very much.